Good evening, viewers. Council Gloria. Today I'm going to discuss land law, second semester, year one. First of all, what is land? Land is an immovable and indestructible or three-dimensional areas consisting of the earth's surface, the space below, above. So when we talk about land law, we mean when we talk about an immovable, remember land can't move from one direction to another direction. It means land, it is a permanent piece of land which is not shifted from one direction to another. That's why we are saying it is an immovable and indestructible, something which is everlasting. Leaving that aside, I'm going to discuss fixture and chattel. When they talk about fixtures, these are items or objects which are permanently fixed or attached to land. For example, if we look at our constitution in Uganda, remember our constitution is the supreme law of the land, and we realize that there are some articles, like Article 44, Article 128. Those articles are permanent in the constitution and they are not revised. Ever they are there, they are permanently fixed in that constitution and not revised. It makes them to be chattels. And where the provisions which are revised or repealed, it makes them to be a chattel. What do we mean by a chattel? Remember, a chattel, these are items which are not fixed permanently on the what? On the land. Leaving that aside, we have what we call the degree of annexation, differentiating the fixture and a chattel. The degree of annexation, we mean that the more deeper the thing is fixed on the earth, the more it makes it to become a fixture. Remember, there is a case of ATC. In the case of ATC, it happened, those guys, they had the telecom masts where they placed them in a place for a certain season. When the contract was expired, they're supposed to go with those telecom masks. But later, the time we are taking their telecom mask, the owner of the property was denying them to go with that telecom mask. Remember, it was just a contract, making it a trade fixtures, where a tenant, when the term has expired, they have the right to go with their properties. Although they are fixtures, at the end of the day, as long as they are just trade fixtures and they are there for a certain period of time. So at the end of the day, it makes it a fixture, but a tenant can go with them anytime. When you talk about the side of a chattel, when you talk about the degree of annexation, we mean the later the thing is attached, it makes it to be a chattel. For example, let us look at the chairs, the tables, those ones. At the end of the day, they become part of a chattel. They become examples of what? A chattel. So when we talk about the purpose of annexation, we consider the enjoyment of that item or an object. The more, remember buildings, the examples of fixtures, buildings can't be shifted to another direction. They are permanently fixed to the land. So we consider the building, the purpose of that building, why it was fixed there, and the enjoyment and the value of that building. The more it is there and it is for enjoyment, and the value it is for enjoyment, and that's its purpose, and it makes it a fixture. So when you talk about a chattel, the purpose of a chattel, sometimes look at the funds which are in houses. Sometimes there are some things we have, they can be shifted to another direction, but we consider the purpose of that annexation of that object. Look at some funds which are just temporarily placed in the room, meaning they can move to another direction, but we consider the purpose of those stuffs or items which have been placed in that building before we do what? We shift to them. The enjoyment matters. So we have the types of fixtures. We have what we call trade fixtures, domestic fixtures, and lastly, I talked about the domestic fixtures, the trade fixture, and lastly the agriculture. When we talk about trade fixtures, we mean, for example, petrol station. Someone comes and he sets up a petrol station for a certain year, and maybe when the year is expired, the person can go and just do whatever and go with all those stuffs. It makes it a trade fixture, although it was a fixture, but at the expiration, the person can go with it. When we talk about agriculture fixtures, we mean like maybe these things, agriculture, they will be planted, either trees. At the end of the day, they have turned fixtures on land, but the person can go with them. And when we talk about domestic fixtures, we mean the photos or the bracker boards, these ones which are temporarily attached to the what? To the piece of land or a building, meaning the tenant can do what? Can go with them. Lastly, I'll talk about removability. Who has the right to remove the what? The fixtures. We have the tenant, the landlord, and the vendors. They all have the what? The rights to remove the fixtures. The more easy you remove that fixture, the more it makes it a fixture. The more easy to take it away, it makes it. The more difficult to take it away, it constitutes a part of what? A fixture. The more difficult to move it or to remove it in that position, it makes it a fixture. And the more easy it is, it makes it a what? A chattel. I will conclude. See you next time.